Ciao amici, Chef Jenner here, Jenner in Tuscany. This is going to be my first video podcast episode, so do we call it a vodcast? I don't know, but anyway, and this is going to be my headquarters. I am here on this beautiful patio where I am staying for the month, and I don't know if you can see behind me because quite frankly, you guys, I'm using this new Motorola Razr, you know, the fold kind, and I bought it because I got a wonderful sale on it through T-Mobile, and it was only $199, and trust me, it is a $199 phone. Like, I'm a Samsung girl, and that's what I've been using all these years, but I didn't feel like paying $1,500 for a new phone. But I am not impressed with this new Motorola Razr. I'm just putting it out there. Sorry. But I'm using it because it has all the storage that I would have had on the other phone without the need of internal storage card. So there it is. But anyway, so yeah, there's a Palazzo Vecchio right behind me. I don't know if you can see it. So the other thing I'm going to warn you guys about is that there's background noise, and there's always going to be background noise because Florence is loud, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But it's a city that gets about 10 million visitors a year, or is it billion? I don't know, I have to look that up, but they get a hell of a lot of visitors every year, and there's a lot of people that live here. You have taxis, you get the ambulance or the police cars, so, and you get conversation in the background, so there's always going to be noise. I'm going to warn you that any video segments that I do from this patio are going to be loud. Get used to it. So I am here doing my little aperitivo, my home aperitivo. I've got a little wonderful prosciutto, Parmigiano Reggiano, the real stuff that is made in Parma, because if it's not made in Parma, it is not Parmigiano Reggiano, period. Got little cheese balls without all the yellow coloring in them. And I've got my bottle of Prosecco that I started last night, and y'all, I drink almost this whole bottle by myself, but I don't care. I'm in Florence. You drink Prosecco and red wine. Who cares, okay? So, yeah, I am here doing my first video podcast, and I think something just landed on my face. Sorry about that. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on what's coming up and what I found while I'm here. So now that I'm here, I wanted to tell you guys exactly what I will be doing on my video podcast episodes. And pardon me, because it is aperitivo time, and I am going to be munching by... Oh, wait. Oh, darn. Okay. I thought we were going to get barraged by cathedral bells. I tell you guys, that is the one thing that I absolutely miss about coming here is the cathedral bells. You know, some people wonder, well, isn't it going to be loud if you're really close to them? I think it's soothing. I love hearing the cathedral bells. It's one thing that never gets old. But anyway, back to what I'm going to be doing while I'm here. Today is Saturday, so I am going to be doing a cooking segment in the kitchen, several cooking segments, because another thing that I love to do here is I love to eat, and I love to cook. You know, a lot of people just go out to restaurants and they have wonderful meals someplace, and some places they don't have such wonderful meals. But I love going to the Italian grocery stores because there's such a huge difference between American grocery stores and Italian grocery stores. And a lot of the times it makes me angry, you know, because the one thing that Italians value is the quality of food. And when they say quality, they want fresh. Places, they look for produce, vegetables, fruits that were grown in the local region. They are big on the fatto in Italia. You thought Americans were big on the made in America? Take that times 100 and you have Italians. Now, y'all, I'm going to pause for a second because there's a group of Hare Krishnas. I hear them coming down the driveway, the street. I'm on one of the main streets here in Florence, and Hare Krishnas live here. And I think I really do hear, like, them coming down the street. I'm going to stop for a second and let you listen. Come on, you guys got to hear that, right? Now, I'm not going to get up because, as you can see, you may see, the one thing that the Motorola does that the Samsung does not is when I move too far away from the camera, it blacks out like it's had too much to drink. But seriously, do you hear that? That's what one thing I love about Florence. In any hour of any day, you're going to see something surprising like this. You hear that? Wait, there's people singing too. Okay. Wow. You hear that? Okay, all right, so back to what I was talking about. I'm going to do a couple of cooking segments. In the kitchen, I'm going to be cooking, and I'm actually going to take you to an Italian grocery store and also to the main market so you can see what I'm talking about. And the one thing here that's really important, like I said, it's quality, not quantity. Say, for example, when you go and buy meat, when you go and buy dairy, you have to use it within a few days because meat goes bad within a few days, dairy goes bad within a few days. That's why Italian people don't go to like big box stores or go to big grocery stores and buy like a whole month's worth of groceries. They literally do go shopping every few days because food doesn't stay that long because it's not meant to stay that long. Okay, so I'm going to take you shopping in an Italian grocery store, and we're going to do a couple of cooking segments. I am also trying to get an appointment with my executive chef friend here at one of the top restaurants in the city and go by and do a cooking segment with him. He's always been so nice to me, so I'm looking forward to that. Another thing I am going to be doing here is Sprezzatura next week, the tour. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get any reservations for this particular tour, although I usually do. I think people are still a little hesitant in traveling, and I think this whole inflation thing happening in the United States has kind of detoured people from traveling internationally. But Marco and I are going to go out, and we're going to show you what normally happens on Sprezzatura. We're going to go to the Chianti region, visit my friends over at Poderia La Marinaya in San Gimignano. I'm going to have a wonderful lunch in Siena with wine tasting. And Val d'Orcia. I swear Val d'Orcia is one of my favorite regions in all of Tuscany, so I'm looking forward to that. And Marco and I are going to do some special features, and it's going to be wonderful. And then we're going to come back here, and I'll be in Tuscany again. I'm going to take you probably on my little specialized tour of Tuscany, and we got Firenze Rocks in another week. And I'm going to do some special edition features in Venice. This will be my first time visiting Venice. I am so excited about that, especially since I'm staying overnight to avoid the cruise ship passengers. So I'm excited about that. So I really do hope that you guys will tune in, watch the podcast this week. I am going to be posting a lot also on Instagram. So if you are not following me on Instagram, go to Instagram and follow me at chef_Jenner. Okay, and I'll be posting a lot of features there. So today is the first full day that I've been in Florence, and the first thing I want to share with you guys is that travel is back in a major way. The crowds, the impatient people, the bad customer service, the full flights, they're all back. So I'm going to start with my experience when I got to the airport yesterday. When I left from Denver, my flight left at 6 a.m., okay? And when I get to the check-in counter, I looked it up, and I saw that Italy was not requiring the passenger locator forms. However, I did not see that France is still requiring them, and I hadn't filled out the form. So the lady at the counter asked me if I filled out this form. I said, no, Italy doesn't require it. And she's like, yeah, but France does. I said, okay, so my mistake. I can fill this out at the gate, right? And she said, no, you need to fill out the form now because I need a special QRC code that it generates in order to be able to check you in. So this form is very unforgiving. If any of you have ever filled out this form, it needs exact information, and it won't stop until it gets the exact information as the flight is listed. Now, this very unhelpful ticket agent from Delta Airlines, I'm going to call out Delta by name, kept giving me wrong information about the flight numbers and the arrival times. It's like she was doing it on purpose, you know? And I'm the first one to say, I don't care what you do. If you don't like your job, get another one. Don't take it out on your customers. And this lady was not giving me the right information to help me fill out this form correctly so I could give her the QRC code that she needed to check me in. And I said, you know what? Can you get a supervisor over here, someone that's more helpful than you? And she said, I am the supervisor. I said, oh, that's unfortunate. But, the thing that's good about Delta also is that when you complete each leg of your flight, you automatically get an email asking you to rate your experience, and trust and believe, she got a really bad review. So there's number one. Number two, I get on the plane and every single flight coming here was booked to the gills, packed, no empty seats. And the flight attendants were very nice and very helpful. I think the passengers were very nice, and overall very glad to be getting out of the house finally and being able to travel. So that was pleasant. Most people were not wearing masks, but I was wearing a mask because COVID's not gone, folks. Let's remember that. It's summer and the cases may be super low because everybody's hanging around outside. But I think wearing a mask will be a regular occurrence when I am flying. So yeah, all the flights were booked, elbow to elbow. Everybody was very much pleasant on the flight, so there were no problems there. And when I got here to Florence, wonderful thing that Florence has now is a train that goes to the main train station. And I took that and walked over here to my apartment, and here I am. And Florence is packed to the gills, people. And it's not even as crowded as it could be because, number one, unfortunately, the Chinese people are still not able to travel because of the COVID situation. And Chinese people love Italy, like all over Italy, not just Florence. It's one of their top destinations. And then the Russian people are not allowed in because of that whole war in the Ukraine. So the streets are packed, but just imagine how much more packed if those two areas were also able to travel. I mean, it's like elbow to elbow out there. And when I was walking to Aperitivo last night, I ran into Dorman, who is a friend of mine. I see him every time here, works at one of the 5-star hotels, Firenze. And he was like, tourism is back. I'm glad that all these people are back, but it is too much. He said it's just like being swarmed by bees. You don't even get a chance to breathe or have a casual conversation with one of your coworkers because you are always running back and forth. And he's like one of the supervisors in the Dorman division, so you can imagine how busy he is. But yeah, just when I've seen it out myself, I went out this morning to get some sunglasses because all the sunglasses I have at home, I forgot my sunglasses. And then I stopped by the Central Market, Mercato Centrale, which I will take you there on one of the podcast episodes. And I stopped there just to get some fries and a drink for lunch. And I mean, it's communal seating. It was, grab and go for the seats. Like, you had to be competitive. If you didn't move and, jack move on the chairs, you weren't getting a seat in that place. That's how crowded it was. So I decided to call it quits. I came back here, put on my swimsuit, and I worked on my Tuscan tan. I'm not going to lie. I know I'm black, but I like my Tuscan tan, okay? So what? So, yeah, Florence is extremely crowded, and from what I understand, it's going to be that way everywhere, because, as I mentioned, most people didn't travel for 2 years, not me. I was back here last July, and they're raring to go, and they have swarmed this city, okay? And the other thing I'm going to tell you guys is it's hot. They're having record heat waves all over Europe. And here, when I started coming here every year in 2015, end of May, it was still kind of cool and rainy. Beginning of June, it would warm up a little bit. Folks, it is like in the mid to upper 90s here, and it's going to be like that for the next 2 weeks. it wasn't that way in the beginning of June. So I say to you, anybody who doesn't believe in global warming, wake up, look at the weather trends. Global warming is here. But yeah, I'm so happy to be back here, and looks like everyone else is too. Okay, so just as I was getting ready to film the next segment, hopefully you can hear that in the background, a street singer starts her shift. And why do I say shift? Here in Florence, the mayor is a classically trained violinist. Okay, so street performers can't just go out on the street and perform. They will get ticketed and fined. They have to audition for the mayor. They work on a schedule. They have assigned corners that they perform at, and they alternate. Or some play at a regular place. For example, today when I was walking over to the Duomo, there's this group, and they play kind of like ragtime jazz. They're a quartet, and they've been playing that same spot for the last year or so. I've been back here last October, and then before that in July, and they were all at the same spot. So the street performers here are wonderful, and you don't have to do with any riffraff. For example, let me tell you this funny story. Right after my father passed, my brother, sister, and I, and then our barber that has worked with us for over 35 years, we all went up to Denver, just to have a day together and get away. And we went and had lunch at this downtown cafe in Denver. And this street performer, a little young thug rapper, gets up, and I swear, you guys, every other word out of his mouth was F this, F that, MF and this, MF and that. There were a bunch of people having lunch out on that patio at that Mexican restaurant. Everybody was like, check please. I mean, seriously, he cleared that patio in record time. You don't get any of that here in Florence. So folks, I wanted to thank you for your continued support. As I always say, I have not gone anywhere near going viral, but I do have dedicated listeners who actually really enjoy my podcast, and I really appreciate you all. So like, share, follow, and I have also opened up the financial listener support. So if you feel like you want to support me financially while I am here in Florence, I would appreciate that. That just means that I can have more adventures to share with you guys. And there is a spot on my homepage, on my podcast, where you can support me financially, and I would greatly appreciate that. But I also have support from Anchor, and you can find this podcast on Anchor. Very easy to create one on your own. You can find it on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Audible, Spotify. So like and share with your friends. Now, if you don't mind holding on for just a minute, we're going to have one of those sponsored ads. Okay, folks, so that's it for my first video podcast of this visit. And the credits. This particular podcast is sponsored by an almost empty bottle of Zonin Prosecco. My absolute favorite Prosecco. Some people say all Prosecco is the same. I beg to differ. It is also sponsored by Prosciutto di Parma, Parmigiano Reggiano, and cheese balls. That's right, folks, cheese balls. What's aperitivo without cheese balls? So, thank you again for tuning in to Jenner in Tuscany. Stay tuned for these next 3 weeks. Yes, 3 weeks in Tuscany. And trust me, folks, if you knew half the stuff I've been going through at home, you would say I deserve these 3 weeks of vacation. So we're going to have a wonderful adventure together, and I hope that you will stay with me. Tune in, like, share, follow. Grazie mille. Ci vediamo dopo. Ciao, ciao, ciao.